But like Oilers fans as a whole, as a fan base, like I'm just sick of them, and I don't want them to be happy.
Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk.
And hockey.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 114 of Stick Talk Hockey. As always, I'm your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
Over there, we got our producer.
Producer Jet.
And we are here right now. The Stanley Cup Finals are fully underway. We got a maximum of 2 games left.
Final countdown.
In this NHL season.
Edmonton's back right up against the wall. Going back to Florida, back to the hot climate.
Yeah. Indeed. And this is just, it's been insanity. We don't have to, I guess I don't have to keep saying that. I've said that every week. But, oh my gosh, what a series this has been.
It's lived up to the hype and then some, honestly. Like, I can't recall a better series in ages.
No, this is like the highest caliber finals I've seen in a very, very, very long time. The game's just in such a good place right now, and these two teams are just throwing everything at each other. And as of right now, Florida's got the upper hand, going home up 3-2. They win last night, and they kind of made the Oilers look silly at that.
Yeah, they did. They didn't look good at all. It was a lopsided loss from start to finish.
First time I've actually been concerned about the Oilers, in all seriousness. At this, we said at the beginning, I got that, like, okay, I got Oilers in 7, but if it's not Oilers in 7, it's Florida in 7, right? Like, it's going to be that close of a series. And even going into last night, I was like, if Edmonton wins tonight, I've got Edmonton in 7.
Right.
If Florida wins tonight, I've got Edmonton in 7, But that game last night, Florida just took it to them basically the entire night.
Yeah, that was a problem. That was a statement.
It was.
It was really concerning. And I will say, like, it was very reminiscent to what we saw in Game 4, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if we really, really get down to the nitty-gritty.
Notably,
They almost let Skinner face 20 shots in the first.
Yeah.
And basically gave him zero help.
Yeah.
For the majority of the period. Gets him yanked. Like, I don't know if Picard should have really been in net to begin with. If you really think about it.
I don't know about that. Like I don't blame Skinner at all. But I think Skinner, Pickard, and the entire team all know that wasn't a Skinner pull. That was a change the team dynamic pull.
100%. I think it just leaves you in a really shaky spot when you squeak out the win.
Yeah.
And then you have to play the hot hand, or so you would think. But now you're in the situation where what do you do? Where do you go?
I know. It's so tough. Like, I want to say you go back to Skinner because
That's your guy.
That's your guy. And he's been notoriously very good at coming back after Pickard gets those games, right?
Absolutely. He's got that compete in him. It's not ego. He's just 100% workhorse.
He's been so good in game 6s and 7s. But at the same time, now you're going back to Florida, the place where he hasn't made it through a game yet.
Yeah,
He's been pulled both times.
That's tough. And I mean, the second goal was kind of his fault. It was right in his chest, and he beach balled it straight into the feet. I mean, like,
yeah.
That one's a little bit on him. Should the D have boxed out better and, taken a stick and done something? Definitely, but
like when the shots were like already 16-4 or whatever in the first, it's like, yeah, I'm not putting this one on him either.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, just to add contrast, there was one goal that was kind of shaky, but I mean, like, even in the first, he made like 3 lights out saves that should have been in.
5 alarm saves.
And they shouldn't have happened in the first place, but no one was picking up their man.
No. And I mean, going back to that game, game 4 was one of the great emotional roller coaster games of all time.
For sure.
Maybe the most fun hockey game I've watched in my entire life. Like, the fact that, like, at the end of the first, I know people are gonna like act like they thought the Oilers still had this, but like the things I was seeing online, like people were handing Florida the cup, and like I got it. I was thinking it. I was looking at this, looking at how bad they got blown out in Game 3, and then watching that first period of Game 4 and going, "Oh my God, this is over."
No, 100%. It looked really bad. I 100% thought it was like, okay.
And then to have this the one thing I said it to 4 different people at my bar top because I was pissed at the Oilers. For the record, I'm working that night.
Yep.
We canceled our event nights for that.
Okay.
We got the game on.
That's tough. Okay.
Yeah, which is fine. And we were pretty full. The Oilers went down 3-0 and like half the people left. God damn it, Edmonton. And I was saying, I was trying to keep people around. I was saying, hey, if you're going to go down early.
True.
And sure enough, I mean, they get 3 goals in succession, and then they make it 4. 4 unanswered. Florida ties it up with 19 point whatever to tie it, and then that Draisaitl one-handed scoop wins it. I mean,
art.
What a game.
It was art. It was art. And we said it when we were coming in here. You mentioned it. It really just encapsulated playoff hockey, and it proved that like no matter what, those goals do make a difference. Those things will change it. The one-handed stick lift to the middle of the ice.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And I will say the Edmonton scoring issues aren't for lack of trying when they get the pressure on. When they actually play to their ability and get on the forecheck and play with affirmative action. They've just been getting the worst goddamn crease luck I've ever seen.
So have, yeah.
How many times have you seen a puck bounce around in a crease like that? It rattles around 5-6 times, and finally it goes in. You're like, yeah, garbage goals win series.
Yeah.
This is the first time I haven't seen like true garbage goals win a game.
For real. This year, I mean, that's one of those aspects that plays into my like thinking of this being the most high caliber finals of my lifetime, is just how little of that type of stuff we're seeing.
Absolutely. I mean, the goals have been artisan. You see Brad Marchand leaping out of the faceoff dot to steal a faceoff win.
Brad.
Forehand, backhand, strong hands to shake off the stick check and then leaves it 5-hole. It was art. That's such a high IQ vet play.
I don't even know, like, there's a way to do that in NHL 25, and I don't even know how to do it, and this guy's doing it in real life in the finals.
It's disgusting. And he's 37.
He's 37.
That's insane. And I mean, yeah, you look at the Darnell Nurse goal.
Yeah.
Oh, mama, that was beautiful.
What a perfectly placed shot.
Breaking the cookie jar.
Yeah, 100%. It
was gorgeous.
Going back to Marchand, I mean, like, particularly if there's a chance he wins this Conn Smythe, like, are we looking at the greatest deadline ad ever?
Yes. It would and it has changed my take on deadline ads forever now. Because I was always very anti getting the superstar. I just felt there was never enough time to mesh.
Right.
But maybe not. Maybe not with a certain superstar.
Well, and again, it's about fit, right? Like Marchand was just simply the perfect fit for this Panthers team.
100%. I couldn't imagine a different free agent or trade deadline target.
Yeah,
landing here.
I can't think of a more perfect target, and I can't think of a more perfect team for him to be on.
Yeah, it was clean work. It was really, really good work at a front office perspective. It was beautiful.
Drives me crazy. Panthers have led this series for over 200 minutes now, and the Oilers have led for 33 of them.
Yeah, that's what my eyes tell me too. Honestly, that exactly checks out. Edmonton's continually been the little tank engine that could.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can anymore. I was believing. I was really believing in the little think tank. I was really thinking they could, but
I'm not gonna bury them yet. I'm riding with the Oil in 7, but man, there's just been too often in this series now. Like, there's been a lot of phenomenal back and forth. Oh my God, it's so tight, nothing could change, or like nobody's gonna break this series open stuff. But then there's been moments where the Panthers have just run circles around the Oilers,
100%.
and the Oilers haven't had their version of that.
No, they've had very fleeting moments of
Moments
it that
of it.
quickly turn into a breakaway goal in the other end of the ice, and you're like, oh Christ, well, I don't
And
know if you can play with that risk if you're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many breakaways have they given up this series already?
Way too many.
Exactly.
And the Oilers. I've been big on how they have like the highest like ceiling they can hit in the NHL, but I mean that Panthers game last night, the caliber they were operating at was the highest in hockey, bar none. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The Oilers are really, really missing Zach Hyman.
Truly. I mean, that's a total series changer. That guy he had like 118 hits. Like when he wasn't scoring goals, he was finding a way to make a difference.
Absolutely. No, he was a problem.
And that's what you would really need in this series is, another 40 hits.
Yeah.
You need a guy who's willing to go out there and throw 5 to 7 a night and maybe contribute in a different way.
Yeah. So now, I mean, look, the Cats also tie the record for the most road wins in a single postseason. Pretty outstanding stuff there. They've been dynamite on the road.
Who'd they tie with?
I don't know, but the number's 10.
Interesting.
So, I like I said, I'm not gonna bury the Oilers here because, like, for real, they can. We've seen they can squeak out a win on the road. They can make that happen, and then it comes down to one game at home. This series ain't over, but it was hard to watch that and think, oh, the Oilers are still gonna win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I'm not burying them either. I'll ride or die with Canada. I really would like to see the Cup come back for a change. I'm normally not one to have that opinion, but it would be nice. It would be refreshing, and I don't know. I'm kind of done with Florida. I'm sick of this goddamn team.
I'm done with Florida, too. I would like to say to all of our Canadian listeners out there who are feeling a way about this, who are feeling, a type of way about the idea of America beating Canada once again, please don't worry. Because we actually know what it looks like when Canada actually plays the U.S. We saw it 4 months ago. I'm wearing the shirt right now that says "Oh Champions." It is still Canada's, right? Like, the Conn Smythe winner, if Florida wins, we're going to argue over if one Canadian, Bennett, or the other Canadian, Marchand.
Easy.
Don't worry about it. Like, honestly, we've seen it. It's still Canada's game. Don't worry about that. Yes, it would be nice for the Cup to come back to Canada. I agree with that. But don't sweat it. If anyone wants to yap at you online, just post a picture of Sam Bennett in the Team Canada jersey winning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I had this conversation at family dinner last night, and it's as much as the Cup may, inhabit a team in the States.
Yeah.
When those parades happen after the Cup, it's visiting Canada.
Yeah.
50 to 60% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last year's team, they had like 64% Canadians?
I don't know what the percentage was. I know that Florida
Or was
that
the Vegas team?
Yeah, probably Vegas.
I think it was
had a lot
Vegas.
of Canadians.
Yeah, they were stacked on Canadians. But
Florida's one of the least Canadian teams in the league. Yet they still have more Canadians than any other nationality. And their coach is Canadian. And 3 of their 4 assistant coaches are Canadian. So, I don't know. That doesn't scream America's game to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I don't know about y'all. But, like, that's the thing. Especially when you look around the league and people are like, oh, well, yeah, the American teams, it's American teams. And it's like, okay, yeah, but the Canadian players, that's always the back and forth. But it's like, it's not just the Canadian players, right? You look at, like Vegas, when they won, well, their team was majority Canadian.
Yep.
Their head coach was Canadian.
Yep.
All of their assistant coaches were Canadian.
Yep.
Their GM was Canadian.
Yep.
And their president was Canadian.
Yep.
They're all just hanging out in Vegas. That doesn't make them American.
No, yeah, absolutely. They just need a job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Believe it or not, it's a job where you have to move.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Look, I'm with y'all. I'm riding with the Oilers. I really do want to see them win. I notice our Pope over here, Jay, very quiet. You've been a hater.
Yeah, I've been embracing it too.
Yeah, speak up. Speak up. Why so quiet? What's going on?
I don't know.
I mean, you noted to me that, like, by the end of that Penguins run, they were the villains, right?
Mhm. Folks was sick.
Folks were indeed sick of the Penguins, myself included. And you really embraced that feeling.
Yeah, I loved it. Everybody just mad as hell.
So you think it's just there's little bit of that coming back to play here?
Yeah, and like I honestly, like, this might be a weird take. I have zero hatred for the Florida Panthers.
What?
Like, I have no problem with the Panthers at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like. I mean, I guess I am cheering them on because I want to see them win, but like.
Like, are we watching different games? I'm just like, I'm confused.
They're just like, I don't know. I like me a villain.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay's on his anti-hero shit. I get it.
Honestly, I got nothing else. I'm not
that's fair.
convinced that I'm really not convinced this series is over on Tuesday though.
Yeah, nor am I.
Like, I really don't think the Oilers go out this sad.
Yeah. That was my only bet that I placed on this series. If you're betting doing at DraftKings Sportsbook, I had my bet at the beginning of the season on the Oilers to win the cup, but my only actual like series bet I put down was that it was going to go 7.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not counting them out. I find it really hard to believe that they're going to overcome this hole with so many questions. Like, they're going to, if they figure out a way to come back, to rally and win in Edmonton in 7, it might be considered some of the best coaching adjustments ever made.
Great take, and that's actually probably my biggest worry is that this late in a series, the stakes that are on the line, I don't think Chris Knobloch can outcoach Paul Maurice, and he's going to have to.
Yeah, and he's going to have to be sure-footed and steadfast in everything he does, because if he shows any panic behind that bench, it's trickling down.
Yeah.
I don't believe in trickle-down economics, but I believe in a chain of yelling, and I believe in trickle-down panic.
However, you know what? At the end of the day, look. I sent, I think, to y'all. This was pre last night's game, so up until last night. Something about at 5-on-5, the top 4 for the Panthers had been outshot pretty heavily by the Oilers.
Yep.
Yet they had outscored the Oilers at 5-on-5, 5-1. Big red flag. Was still really waiting for McDavid to break out in this series, and I still am.
I think he's been making a really solid difference. It's just that no one's helping him finish.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have Connor Brown on your first line.
Yeah, it's incredibly factual.
Because he's made some incredible plays and some incredible moves behind the net, but there's zero support. It's just a turnover, and he's eating a hit.
You know what, though? We need to see a little bit more. He's done it like once a game, but we need to see a little bit more Nathan McKinnon. Fuck it, I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
How many times has he had these ridiculous break-ins to the zone where he walks through 4 guys and then he stops and looks?
Yeah, just shoot.
Cut it out. Drive the net, dude.
Just shoot.
Go LeBron mode.
Sometimes it's fine to just be the best player and accept it. You don't have to look. If you know the spot you're going to hit, just hit it.
That's what I'm looking for in Game 6. Just he's going to have to.
Find your mark. Find your mark. Make it count.
And you know what? He might. He just might do it. I'm riding with it. Oil in 7.
Yeah, I'm a stay with it. Oil in 7. My oil in 6 take is cooked, but hey.
All right. Jay, you think the Oil win on Tuesday, though, yeah?
I, honest to God, don't know. And I don't even know. I'm not making any predictions.
Honestly, fair.
I don't know anything. But you know what I just really don't like? I just don't like Oiler fans.
Me either.
That's a bar. That's a
Like,
bar.
You know, I be hating on my coworkers, Justin
do.
and Dan.
You do.
But they cool. But like Oilers fans as a whole, as a fan base, like I'm just sick of them. And I don't want them to be happy.
No, Okay, so word, first of all, Oilers fans I've also very much had enough of. But, like, I don't know what you be looking at online. But, like, are you saying you prefer Cats fans?
Well, I just don't even, like, I don't know. They don't really exist to me, so I don't care.
All right, that's fair. Panthers fans are brutal.
Yeah, I don't really like.
Yeah, like, they're boring. But
And also, I'm trying to disregard the fans. Because you know who has shitty fans?
Everyone?
Every single team in the National Hockey League.
Bingo. Yeah, Devils fans aren't excluded. We threw beer at the refs.
Actually, every single fan base in pro sports, for that matter.
Yeah,
it's true.
Every fan base has had a really shameful thing happen if you look back far enough.
The only fans who I love dearly, literally the only team in all of sports where I'm like, I love those fans, is Buffalo Bills fans. That's it. Because they're so diehard, and that team has never done anything. Well, never, but it's been a tragic life.
Yeah, I mean, you got to tip your cap to the Raiders fan that sticks around for 3 relocations.
Factual. Yeah, the Oilers also they got to get Taylor Swift on the payroll here. Eh? She was at that game, and they made that magical comeback happen. They need to get her in the building for Game 6.
They balled out. They balled out for T Swift.
Who wouldn't?
Hey, you know what? I actually saw a really interesting stat as well.
Mm.
I think this one came from the Empty Netters podcast.
Okay.
Pretty big. Check them out on Instagram. They make good stuff.
Yeah.
The Panthers are 0-7 when they have a Miami Dolphin come into the building to bang the pregame drum.
No way.
For real.
What a curse.
Ain't that interesting?
Oh, no.
So what the Oil really need is for some linebacker to just come through and bang that drum in Game 6.
They need Tyreek in the building.
Touchdown flow.
You also see Antonio Brown wanted for murder.
Yeah, that's
Attempted
crazy.
murder.
It's been a weird week.
Why?
I got threatened at work. That was crazy.
That's right, yeah.
That was wild.
I'm glad you made it. It was Friday the 13th week.
Yeah, and our power went out. Our power was out while I got threatened at work.
Yeah, there was like power outages all over BC.
It was like super weird.
Friday the 13th.
And then like a whole bunch of other stuff broke, and we had to fix that too. It's just like a bad day.
It's very peculiar.
And my truck broke.
Yeah.
It's been a bad week. I don't know. Thank God the hockey was here to save me. Cause Jesus.
Shout out to you, producer Jay. Going and picking up Trill this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
For
Uber
the
J.
Yeah, Uber J. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, we could probably put a bow on this for now. I mean, really, it's just setting the stage. I mean, Tuesday and Friday.
Who do you think they start? Let's close on that.
I think they go Skinner.
Agree.
Jay.
I think they go Pickard. Now, like, and we can talk about if like Skinner's poor first period in Game 4, whether that's on him or not. But the fact is that he's been pulled twice in Florida.
And it's back in Florida.
And, like, I mean, Pickard wasn't good last night, but I don't think he was, like, just utterly horrible where it's like, oh, you can't go back to that.
Yeah.
So I think they'll stick with him.
That's fair. That's fair. All I will say about that is I do not envy Chris Knobloch.
Nope. Not at all.
Nope.
I can't blame him either way, and I think that, you know, he's done a really great job getting the team this far.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be like a DeBoer situation.
No, certainly not. No, certainly not.
But it's going to be really interesting to see what adjustments, if any, he makes moving forward.
I got like real deal. Like I was saying that Jonesy and I, we got into a talk about hockey psychology the other night. And like this actually feels like the Oilers have to win. Someone talked about it in another sport. I think it was in the NBA. Might have been Kobe Bryant who talked about like how like once you win, it becomes a lot easier to win. You get that mentality. And once you lose, it becomes a lot harder to win. And if you lose again, then it gets really hard to get out of that, to break that mental spell.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And like I don't know. Will the Oilers ever have another chance like this?
I'm gonna say yes, just because that core is so good, and I think they're going to be able to extend
Yeah.
it. But I don't know if it's going to happen immediately. I think we might see like a hangover of 1 or 2 years where they're trying to
Yeah.
figure out where the retool happens to really bring out the best of everyone.
And then in 2020, the 2028 Stanley Cup Finals will be like, are they going back to Skinner?
Yikes.
Yeah. Okay. I really, 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 really hope the Oilers get this done here. I was having those visions of McDavid hoisted the cup back since round 1, and I'd like to see that play out.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I would love, love, love to see that. And Perry just like
I know.
watching the look on his face
I
when
know.
that 5th goal went in.
Yeah.
It was just like sickening. It felt like watching your dad cry.
Yeah,
It's
for
like-
real.
Damn.
And like he's like almost my dad's age.
Yeah, real. Real.
Okay, let's get to 2 teams that are nowhere near the Stanley Cup Finals. The Anaheim Ducks and the New York Rangers finally pull the trigger here. Chris Kreider is going out to Anaheim with a 4th-round pick this year. That's basically a swap because a 2025 3rd-round pick is coming back to New York for that, along with Kerry Terrence, 2023 2nd-round pick, who's a pretty solid prospect. But
Say it with me, folks.
yeah,
Blockbuster.
blockbuster indeed. Yeah, it's kind of it's like not really for all that much. But Jay, you were noting,
Yeah, like I said before the pod,
yeah,
before the cameras were rolling, how like Chris Kreider is really one of the greatest Rangers ever, and he's just gone in an instant.
And no one batted an eye.
Yeah, like I didn't care.
yeah, that's so wild.
Rangers fans didn't care. I was looking through their own like pages and like, every 2nd or 3rd comment was pretty nice. They were like,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for your time served, great guy.
Sure.
Couldn't be happier with as a Rangers fan. Da da da. But most of the comments were just terrible, and all the replies to the positive ones were like, "Shut the hell up, we didn't need him anymore. The guy's dead weight. What a freaking bomb."
What was his first season? Was it 13?
2012.
2012.
Well, 2012 playoffs.
Yeah. It's like, and then they went to the finals in 14, right?
Yeah.
And he was like the future. Like Chris Kreider was like the city of New York loved Chris Kreider.
Yeah.
And like it even like happened at the time when trades that don't matter happen. You know what I mean? Like the big blockbusters are like usually like middle of free agency, like or middle of the summer after free agency, or like right before the season starts. Like right around now, like mid finals is like when like the trades that don't matter happen.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that, maybe New York has some really, really solid depth scouting, and they were like, okay, we're going to sneak away with a dude here in the 3rd round, but we need a pick. But,
Sure. But it's the Rangers.
It's the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Like, how sick of a snag are you getting here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think for Rangers fans, like there's a lot of
recency bias?
no, I just think that like earlier this season when the Trouba stuff started happening, it became very clear very quickly that Trouba and Kreider were openly available. So I think a lot of Rangers fans probably already had like penciled him away in their head.
They like checked out on that a while ago.
Yeah, they already kind of knew it was coming. The Kreider era of the Rangers was over. And so like when this happens and it's like, 7 months after that, like you've already accepted it.
Yeah, that's very fair. I remember being in a phase like that with the Devils where like, fan favorites for 10 years were being rattled off for nothing. And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
good, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Like, sign him again? No.
I mean, these 2 teams are 2 of my biggest glow up competitors for next year. I mean, the Anaheim Ducks, again, we were talking about this before, but as much as it's Joel Quenneville,
100%.
way far superior coach to whatever the hell they were trying to do last season and for the last multiple seasons. I think the Ducks, adding Chris Kreider and whatever else they do in free agency, I think you're going to see a big year from Zegras and McTavish. They're going to be good next year.
Yeah, and I think that's a group that needed some leadership, and they needed winners.
Yeah.
They needed certified winners,
Yeah,
guys
they
that
did.
knew how to pull it off and get to the playoffs.
Yep, I agree. And then in Anaheim or in New York's case, I mean, the other worst coaching environment in all of hockey with Laviolette, and they get rid of that bozo and bring in Jonesy's goat, Mike Sullivan. I think, again, barring, we'll see what happens in this offseason here, but I will not be even a little bit surprised if the Rangers are a 105-point team next year.
No, definitely. And I would honestly not be surprised if Anaheim is up there in the 90s.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier as well. They had a huge resurgence this year. They
went from, I think they went from 68 to 81 points.
Yeah, that's unreal.
It's a big glow up with everything trying to stop them while they did it. Yeah, like I say, you add a couple pieces and a different coach. I mean, yeah. The only problem is, like Jonesy was saying, like the West is stacked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the problem is that you're going to have, if you want to get a wild card spot, you're going to be battling with the
like it's actually it's so tough.
Yeah, that's what that's
and it's not even just the playoff teams. Like you got, like Utah might go out and do some shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the Canucks could be
better,
serious-ish.
I mean, look, you either get good or you stay the same, and this is a team that can't afford to stay the same any longer. They've had their time. They've taken their picks. They have their stashes.
Like, you got to think next year, like, Jets, Knights, Stars are locks, right?
Avs.
I would even say Avs, Oilers, Kings are all locks.
I'm iffy on the Kings. I think they could.
I don't think they're getting worse next year. I don't think so. The Wild aren't getting worse next year. The Blues aren't getting worse next year. They probably won't go on a historic heater the way that they did at the end of the season, but they'll probably be better throughout the season. Canucks could be better. Utah definitely could be better. Honestly, Nashville could be better than they were this year. They weren't. They were horrific.
Yeah, they're
this
not
year.
going to be 68 point.
Would anyone be like shocked if all of these teams were a little bit better next year?
No.
Is there a single seller in the West?
Maybe if you're knocking on the Seattle door, Nashville, Chicago, San Jose, they all seem like they're
not selling. Chicago, San Jose, they want to get better.
I mean, for the right deal, for the right piece, those are teams that definitely can extend their window. What are they going to do? Like, they're not going to contend in the next 3 years with these powerhouses the way they are and the contracts stacked the way they are. And their, rookie contracts are just going to be coming to RFA terms.
I mean, from everything we're hearing, they're in on these guys in free agency this year.
If they land Marner, then we'll talk.
They're not landing Marner.
See, so I don't know.
But like a Nikolai Ehlers, like that's what I mean. Like these teams are. I was talking to Jonesy about this. Like I real deal think there's like maybe one seller in the league next year, and it's the Boston Bruins. And that even then, that's if they decide to, because Boston hates doing that. And Jonesy, you said that's why you're kind of for real about Gavin McKenna becoming a Penguin. And I actually know I'm on board. I think Gavin McKenna will be a Pittsburgh Penguin. The only seller in the league that next year is probably the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I'm stepping in.
Is there anyone that's not trying to like improve their current roster?
Maybe no. You go, Jay.
I'm sorry. This isn't even an answer to what your question was, but I'm just noticing like it actually. I haven't been listening to this prior to like this moment. It might be time to expand the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like there's actually just so many at least solid teams that are not gonna make the playoffs next year.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's been said, like it's the first time the last couple of years where half the league misses.
Yes. Well, and it's gonna be like even more because we just got the word in this week that Atlanta officially put in their bid. They'll probably get another shot because Gary Bettman's out of his mind.
They've been looking to invest billions into an entertainment district, so you can imagine that's a pretty investment for Bettman. He's probably licking his chops.
Dude, Gary Bettman just loves Atlanta, dude. The
Absolutely.
NHL, Gary Bettman loves trap music.
Who doesn't, really? And I mean, it's a great market if you know how to market it properly. The issue is that everyone in that office was always so out of touch with what the locals want.
If they're serious about it, when they unveil that presser, they better have Gary Bettman standing up there with Future.
Yeah, and Gucci Mane.
And Gucci.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeezy.
100%. Yeah. You better bring everyone out. You better have like the trap music bumping, the low riders.
You could even bring Gunna.
That'd be banging.
And then just name your team something about the Rats. What you mean? Yeah, Future got a song called Stick Talk.
It's actually the naming inspiration for this whole series. So
yeah, this entire podcast. Okay, finishing up. Let's go to we were talking about free agency a little bit. Marner confirmed out the door.
Yeah, he's gonna be landing somewhere, and it ain't Toronto.
No,
that bridge has burned. And you were saying you actually made a really great point about this, because
yeah,
you want to just take it?
Sure. It's just something that's been bothering me a lot over the last week or so, because it's Leafs fans. Again, all fans are out of their mind. Leafs fans, you're particularly out of your minds. But it's not just Leafs fans. It's major media people all across NHL media, whether it's athletic writers or Elliot Friedman or Frank Saravalli, that are kind of optimistic about this and upping it and saying things like, they really do need this kind of shakeup. And it's that's not a shakeup.
No, it's a dismantling.
Bleeding an $11 million contributor isn't shaking up your roster. It's just getting worse.
Definitely. I mean, he's going to be the top guy in free agency this year.
For a reason.
Even if you go and get the second best guy,
you're worse.
You're still worse.
You're worse.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, they need a little bit more grit. Marner wasn't the guy or whatever. And it's I understand all of that. I do. But there's just simply no, especially because I don't think it was just grit or whatever, or heart or whatever, that is the reason the Maple Leafs don't have a cup right now. They weren't good enough.
No. They didn't even make the, yeah, you go.
If you're not good enough, you need to shake something up. You basically only have, you need to do, you know what you need to do? You need to do the Huberdeau for Kachuk trade. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you have to go for a big 1-for-1.
That's what Florida did. They weren't quite there. They made the big move. Because that's your chip, right? For Toronto, that's their piece to move. You're expiring UFA. They have no first-round picks for the next fucking half a decade. They have no premier prospects. All they have is this elite talent core. So if you want to shake things up, you trade one. You can't just walk away from an $11 million contributor and be like, yeah, this is going to get better. No. What?
And I mean, look, we talked about this a little bit in the last episode, and the take was, yeah, when you're drafting like Toronto was drafting, you just take the highest ceiling guy and you worry about how they fit later.
Exactly.
And I just can't help but feel that someone's ego got involved and they said, no, that's my guy. He's not leaving.
Yes.
That's the guy.
But I think it was Shanahan.
Absolutely. And I think that's why he's out. And I think it's a big reason why Toronto's looking down this barrel now. Because if you poo-poo every single trade that was made available, you have 4 identity pieces that are the exact same. Nothing's complementary. You're not going to generate any different scoring that way. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a massive problem. And you take a look at what Florida did. And they send out a guy who was very similar to all of their other guys.
Yeah.
He wasn't big on contact. He was a great heads-up playmaker. But he wasn't the top finisher. He wasn't a scoring threat. Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't the guy they needed.
So they get the guy with the grit, with the scoring, who might not be the most elite playmaker or even the fastest skater, but he has the high IQ and the tenacity to score at a rapid rate.
Got that dog.
You take that risk on a player that just has a different identity, and you get the value out of it, and they didn't.
Yep. And the other thing I have absolutely no time for with all of this is, well, he had an NTC. He nixed the Rantanen trade. It's well, first of all, maybe don't bring that to him 2 hours before the deadline, because that's when this whole thing came out about this, was that right at the end, Toronto got in and they asked Marner and he said no. if you're a real organization, you make this decision before that, and you make the guy waive.
Yeah, and you respect
People do it all the time.
Yeah, and you respect your player enough to have a sit-down conversation, a face-to-face, and go, hey, this isn't working. Would you please waive? And if so, where would you like to go? Because we can try and make that happen. You work together.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it was handled poorly from the start. And I don't blame Marner for basically walking out the door before it was even confirmed. He was so skeptical on returning. You could see it in his body language and the way that he did his pressers. And I don't blame him. That's such a lack of respect, considering he was a point-per-game player in the playoffs.
Yep.
And he's done nothing wrong by this franchise since he started playing for him.
Yep.
But he's been done wrong a ton.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd leave too.
That's the other thing. Like, people talk so much about, he disappears in the playoffs and stuff. It's like, it's very difficult to find point-per-game playoff players. Yes, you might be paying Marner more, like you think he should be producing more than that, but that's hard to find.
Everyone thinks they should be producing more than that. And I mean, take a look at Rantanen. Just as many hat-trick games he had 0-point games.
Yeah.
So, like, what does that tell you?
My like, just someone, I don't care if you're a Leafs fan or what, just tell me, please, in the comments, reach out on Instagram, reach out on TikTok, wherever, like, tell me a path to the Maple Leafs being better next year than they were this year by walking away from Mitch Marner. Like, what are you going to do? What, like, you sign Ehlers? That doesn't make you better. Oh, you make a trade for Jason Robertson, and you got to part with someone else in your organization. You got no players. You got to part with Matthew Nyes because you can't get a deal done with him. Okay, so now you got Jason Robertson. No Mitch Marner. Are you better?
Yeah.
No?
No, and you still have to go one for one. Something's going to have to go out to come in.
Yeah, like, I don't understand the idea that this is good for Toronto. Like, I don't.
No.
And I don't necessarily, like, I don't blame them right now in this moment if they can't get a deal done because, like, Marner doesn't want to stay. I get that. But, like, it's just all of the things that have led up to this and the people, like, trying to gaslight me into thinking that the Leafs are doing a good thing here, you know?
Yeah, no, it's Toronto media at its finest. They're going to prop them up and be like, oh, this is a good thing, this is a good thing, this is a good thing, just so they can tear them down again in October. And go, oh, they never should have let him walk. Oh, this team sure looks different without Mitch Marner on it this year, let me tell you.
That's what is going to happen, especially when Mitch Marner puts up 100 points and is dynamite in the playoffs for Vegas next year.
Yep, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. I can feel it. It'll happen. Maybe not Vegas. Maybe Minnesota. Maybe Nashville.
I think Vegas, Utah. I think one of those two, Vegas or Utah.
You don't think Minnesota?
No.
No?
Cold. Now, would I like to see Mitch Marner in Minnesota? Yes.
It'd be fun.
It would be fun. Mitch Marner and Kirill Kaprizov together? Good freaking grief.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I know it's illogical, but I was just like, what a fun thought. You have to just kind of play with it a little bit. It's like...
So, yeah. When we're here next week, the finals will be done. We'll have our champion.
We're going to be coming to a close, and then we have free agency opening up on July 4th. First? No, yeah, so it is. July 1st. There you go.
Every year.
Oh, Canada.
We'll have the drafts as well.
Yeah.
In LA.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll have one more episode where we're talking about the finals, going through everything. Mm-hmm. We'll have our champion, wind down the season, and then free agency, draft, and vacation.
So will that be next week? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we have, so next week we'll be doing finals wrap up. Then it'll be the draft the next week. And then free agency.
And then we're done.
Woo!
We're nearing the close.
But this is the grand finale.
This is the best part of the hockey season.
It is. I love it.
Not because it's ending, but because it's ending stupendously.
Exactly. It is. It's the grand finale. Some fireworks.
And I was saying, don't get me wrong. I love doing this every week. I love talking to y'all.
Yeah.
I'm so appreciative for y'all having us in your homes and in your ears and in your cars and wherever you listen to us and consume the podcast. We so appreciate it.
For sure.
But I'm ready for a vacation.
Yeah, a little break would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a few weekends to like have a full weekend.
Yeah.
But I was also saying to Jay that like I know that by the time like I've had like 3-4 weekends to myself.
Oh my God, I gotta talk about hockey.
Yeah, I'm not gonna know
know.
what to do with myself
Yeah.
anymore. I'm gonna feel like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince when he's just standing in that empty ass house looking sad. It's gonna be me in my apartment looking dejected. I don't know what to do.
So fags. All right, well, I think that's it for us. Great episode, y'all. And we'll see you next week.
Fantastic. It was an honor, as always.
Indeed. As always, I'm your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours, Trilly.
Over there, we got our producer,
Producer J.
Pope J. Keep your dang head up.
Keep your head up.
Boom.
Boom.
Stick
Boom.
talk. Stick talk.